Hello everybody, I'm Jason2890 bringing you another video. This is a Master League Classic team that I wanted to showcase. It's actually a team that helped me hit a season high of 3496 rating, which brought me to 33rd on the leaderboard. I wanted to go share it with you all in case you are struggling to climb. I used this team earlier during the first rotation of Master League Classic during Go Battle Night. And it actually helped me to climb from like just on Go Battle Night from the 2200s into the 2700s just from those 100 battles. And then since Master Classic came back, I started in the low 3300s, climbed to the high 3400s. It's been having success at various elo ranges. So I wanted to go share this with you. Now I know it's pretty difficult to have a unique Master League Classic team nowadays. I mean, there's a very limited meta, so it's hard to bring a completely original team. Although for what it's worth, I have not seen any other people showcase this specific team. And in the entire season playing this team, I have not run into a single mirror team, complete mirror team. So take that for what it's worth. I consider this to be a very good team, and I don't say this lightly. I think this is the best non-Dialga Master League Classic team. So as you can see on the left, we have a Togekiss lead, and then in the back line we have Giratina and Melmetal. And just to explain a little bit of the concept behind this team and how I decided to create this, I had a Great League team that had a similar concept behind it with a Shadow Sableye lead, and then the back two Pokemon were Medicham and Bastiodon. And my reasoning was that Shadow Sableye, or really like a Purified Sableye, XL Sableye at this point, is just a great Pokemon, wins a bunch of leads, and is capable of winning a lot of matches in the two shield. So you have a good chance of winning the lead, and then being able to align your back two Pokemon, which combined create an extremely strong core. Medicham and Bastiodon is probably the best core in Great League, and in my opinion, I think Giratina-Origin and Melmetal comprise the best core in Master League. Basically, they cover almost everything, and the things that they don't cover, Togekiss cover. So that being said, I just wanted to go show how Togekiss looks in the two shield, because we're going to a similar concept. We want to basically win lead at any cost if it's possible, and the ones where we hit bad leads, I'll explain how to play those on a case-by-case basis, because a lot of this team's success hinges on you being able to read teams properly and being able to accurately predict the opponent's backline. Because there are a lot of scenarios where you may bring a Pokemon in to take out their swapped Pokemon, but then you may need to preserve for later, depending on what you anticipate their back Pokemon to be. So there is definitely a bit of thinking that goes into this team. It's not just an auto win if you play it. But anyway, just to bring this up, this is the PV Poke rating for Togekiss just using Charm, no charge moves at all, in the two shield against the Master League meta. As you can see here, it's pretty good, a 27-6 win-loss ratio, and the only losses that you run into are Heatran, which is rarely, if ever, seen, Metagross, which is not very commonly seen in higher ratings at all, Magazone, which I have not seen a single one this season at all in Open Master League. They used to be a Master Premier staple. And then you have Melmetal, Ho-Oh, and Excadrill. Melmetal and Excadrill are definitely the two most common Pokemon out of the six Pokemon that Togekiss loses to. Ho-Oh you run into on occasion, but what's crazy about this is that you actually can win the two shield against Ho-Oh. This two shield sim requires Ho-Oh to bait with Earthquake twice to not debuff themselves. If they happen to Brave Bird, you can actually double shield and farm down Ho-Oh. They Brave Bird on their first. Not to mention you could threaten them pretty heavily with Ancient Power. So that being said, you win against everything else in the Master League meta, which is kind of ridiculous. So I wanted to go show some video footage right now. As you can see, in terms of movesets, we have pretty standard movesets. In terms of best buddies, I opted to best buddy my Melmetal because I think it's important if you end up in a Melmetal mirror match later on to be able to win CMP. As for the Pokemon that I'm using on my team, in terms of IVs, they're not particularly great. Togekiss is a 100%. I did get lucky to hatch one of those. The other two are just lucky Pokemon that I traded for. My Giratina, I believe, is a 93% lucky Pokemon, 15, 15, 12. And Melmetal is also a lucky trade. It was a 15, 14, 12. So with that being said, I want to go play some video footage. I think I have 8 or 9 battles to show off here, just to showcase how you play various leads and show this team in action. So let's get going. The first battle I recorded, this is a coincidence, it just so happens to be the first battle here. First battle I recorded with this team, you'll see here, it just showcases the absolute dominance of Togekiss if you happen to get an Ancient Power boost, which I'll show you the scenarios where you might want to gamble on an Ancient Power boost if it ends up being your only win condition, or same with Ominous Wind as well. because if you happen to get that boost, it can just demolish the team. So here we go. We have a battle against Sodachrome T, who I believe was streaming at the time. Togekiss mirror match. Obviously, you just stay in here. How I generally play it is I try to throw Ancient Power, and then I generally don't expend shields here. He was out of sync, so he started one turn behind. I get my Ancient Power off first, and I get the boost. Typically, I don't shield this matchup, but because I got the boost, I decide, all right, let's see what Togekiss can do. Hopefully, they don't have a Melmetal in the back line, so we'll just roll with Togekiss and see how much damage it can do to whatever brought in. So we have a Dragon Tail Groudon. And I'm figuring right here, I'm going to shield this Fire Punch. If they're bringing in a Groudon into Togekiss, they have something in the back that's definitely weak to this. So they bring in Giratina-Origin. As you can see, these charms are just chunking a ridiculous amount. We throw an Ancient Power here. They shield it and try to farm me all the way down, but unfortunately, because of the double boost, we're just able to completely destroy that. So Togekiss alone was able to take out over 2.5 of the Pokemon on this team. And at this point, I believe Cytochrome just lets this go because really there's absolutely no chance of winning this. So, yeah. If that doesn't show you how powerful Togekiss can be, and I know what you all are thinking. Okay, you're not using Dialga, but you are using a Charmer. And what can I say? Charm is a very good move until it gets nerfed or changed, or until other fairy fast moves are introduced. It's out there. You might as well use it. You know, if you can't beat him, join him. And then this second battle I recorded, I left this one in here. Probably shouldn't have, but because it's a very terrible battle. Meloetta is the lead here. This is just to show you that even people in the higher ratings get hit with lag a lot. I bring in Giratina, which is also probably a mistake on my part because I forgot that Meloetta is part normal typing. But anyway, I'm dropping lots of fast moves. Usually, if they try to farm you down, you can get to a Shadow Ball plus an Ominous Wind against Dialga. I was only able to get to the Shadow Ball because I was dropping so many fast moves. We're getting weak connection all over the place, despite the fact that I have full bars on my data. Dialga gets to a second Iron Head, which is awful. At this point, I just let it go. And then maybe Melmetal can sweep, but I am not even attacking at all, despite the fact that I'm tapping so much. I don't really need to commentate this battle. I'm sure you guys have all been there if you're all watching this. Weak connection is definitely the greatest adversary for any team, and no team's immune to that. So I desperately shield this because I want to see if maybe we can get to see what the back Pokemon is. Although I'm fairly sure I've played this trainer before, and their back Pokemon, without any spoilers, is something else that's weak to Melmetal. So I was trying to swap Giratina in to preserve Melmetal, so hopefully Melmetal will later, but we don't even get to see the team. We had way too much lag. There's just no hope here. I throw an Ancient Power boost just for fun. They shield it anyway. It wouldn't have KO'd, so it doesn't even matter. Anyway, let's go to the next actual battle. And we have a battle with a Dialga lead. Now, before I continue this battle, I'm going to pause this here and just talk about some of these leads. So Dialga is an interesting matchup. You win it in the 2 shield, you can charm all the way down. In the 1 shield, you typically... the way I like to play it, some people play it differently. I like to throw exactly 11 charms and throw an Ancient Power. And what that does, that ensures that they will not get to a second Iron Head unless they shield the Ancient Power. And if they let the Ancient Power go, it does enough damage to KO Dialga, just barely. Even if they're best buddied, as long as you have 15 attack, I think even 14 attack, Togekiss can do well. But as long as you have 15 attack or 14 attack, then enough damage from 11 charms and 1 Ancient Power just barely KOs Dialga, as long as you hit all the bubbles on Ancient Power. So I figure you might as well throw Ancient Power there. A lot of people I see in this matchup will throw Flamethrower. It's not necessary. Not in Master League Classic anyway. I believe in Open Master League, if you're using level 50 Pokemon, that may be different, so mileage may vary. But yeah, if you throw an Ancient Power, it's basically a free chance at a boost. That's the way I see it. So you might as well throw the Ancient Power. It's less energy than Flamethrower. It gets the job done anyway if they no shield, plus you have a chance at boosting. But the way that I like to play this matchup in the lead, I play it exactly like I mentioned before. You just try to charm a bunch. You get 6 charms before they get to their first Iron Head, if they decide to throw it right when they get it, which my opponent does here. We shield it, of course. Iron Head does a lot of damage, like 70% or something. 3, 4. So I throw out their 5 more charms here. This will KO, and if they do shield, I make a cheeky swap here to Melmetal. Because people that are leading Dialga typically have a backline that does very well against Melmetal, so Melmetal's effectively worthless here. We're using Melmetal as basically an extra shield, so we don't have to shield that Iron Head. Reserve one for later. So they farmed up some energy on Dialga. They bring in a Groudon. Groudon's obviously a hard counter. That Fire Punch did like half. We get 2 superpowers off, which actually does a decent chunk, which is really nice. And then at this point, we're going to bring our Togekiss back in. Togekiss does very well against Groudon as well. In fact, against Dragon Tail Groudon, you can no shield and farm all the way down, come out with energy. Against Fire Punch, you actually do have to shield if you want to win the matchup. I just opt to let this go. Figure I'll give Giratina some farm. They have Shadow Mewtwo in the back. You can just go straight Ominous Wind here. If they shield, Ominous Wind does enough damage to Shadow Mewtwo anyway, and even I think to regular Mewtwo. We're going to let the first one go. We have to make a call here. If they have Shadow Ball, then so be it. But we don't want to shield a Psystrike on the off chance that they also have Shadow Ball. And luckily, we are just able to farm down because it's Shadow Mewtwo and come out of this with energy. Now I have to make a really tough call here because if they bring in Dialga, they're close to a move, plus Dragon Breath damage is so oppressive. So as soon as I see the icons for Dialga on the top right, I throw Ominous Wind to KO, and then one more Shadow Claw takes out the ground. That ended up being a pretty tough battle. I believe my opponent was waiting for their switch timer because I think what they might have tried to do is bring in Dialga, so I see the icons, and then quickly switch to Groudon to catch the Ominous Wind. That would have gotten me to throw my energy into the wrong Pokemon, and that would have won my opponent the battle. They would have been able to Dragon Breath me down if I didn't have that charge move ready. So I don't know, maybe their switch timer was not fully up yet, or maybe the plan just didn't work out as they intended, but fortunately it worked out for us. So we have another battle here. We're at 3492 rating currently. Togekiss and the Melmetal. So a lot of people have mentioned when I saw this team, when I mentioned this team, like, what do you do against the Melmetal lead? Because Melmetal is probably the worst Pokemon you can see for Togekiss. Because it basically walls you. I mean, if you get to a Flamethrower and they don't shield it, yeah, then that's good. But they're not going to let you get to a Flamethrower if you stay in. So what I like to do, and what I found, is that teams that lead Melmetal typically have a backline that is weak to Melmetal themselves. The worst case scenario is that they would have a Giratina because Melmetal and Giratina are very good core. So what I tend to do in Melmetal matchups is to immediately mirror with my own Melmetal and then do everything I can to preserve that Melmetal because it'll likely be useful later. And a team with Melmetal in the lead also is typically good against Giratina-Origin in the back because Giratina has a very favorable matchup against Melmetal. So if you're building a team from my opponent's perspective and you have Melmetal as the lead, you want 2 back Pokemon that can beat Giratina-Origin. Probably a hard counter and then probably like a neutral counter that also can win. So what I like to do, bring in Melmetal, and if they stay in right away, I shield their charge move because they usually stay in to throw a superpower and dip out. If they happen to stay in to throw like double superpowers, I have no problem double shielding. Because the good thing about Melmetal is it's so spammy that you can often stall the switch timer enough to switch Melmetal out to preserve it. And if they stay in and throw superpowers, they desync their switch clock, which allows you to get Togekiss into a matchup where your opponent's still switch locked on occasion. So we'll see how this plays out. I can't remember this exact battle, but we'll see what the backline is. So obviously we switch out right away, and they switch out right away to Yveltal, which is a little surprising to me because Yveltal does not do well. But after you see their third Pokemon, it makes more sense. They're up to a potential Focus Blast. I will shield here. Most people bait. Yep, they threw a Dark Pulse. And then they throw just after 2 more. I know this is not a Focus Blast, so I will not shield this one. I'll take the Dark Pulse. We're going to throw a Rock Slide right here. And we are able to win, switch there, which is favorable, because then we don't have to worry about getting Togekiss on Melmetal. So I opt to throw a Superpower here, and I tried to CMP tie, because I know they got 1 in before the switch, so I threw 4, and the fact that I'm Best Buddy means I will win CMP if they are not Best. So we actually CMP tied on the Superpower, which is ideal. They bring in Lugia for their last Pokemon. So I'm actually going to bank a Shadow Ball, and then I tried to catch a Sky Attack on Togekiss. This is actually fairly big of a misplay, because you can survive an Aeroblast from Lugia. And I also throw the Ancient Power here because I think I can charm them down before they get to a second Aeroblast. Unfortunately, I'm wrong about that. They get to the Aeroblast, and now we're in kind of a bit of trouble. Because even though we have a favorable matchup, we have a lot of energy, and we're going against a Melmetal. This is still not ideal with our Giratina at about half health, because they'll take us out in 2 or 3 Rock Slides. So our only win condition at this point, we have to go rely on the Ominous Wind boost. So our Our win condition is as follows. We need to throw this Ominous Wind and hope they shield it, and hope we get the boost, which is exactly what happens. Sometimes it's better to be good than lucky. The Shadow Ball, even though it's boosted, will not even take out the Melmetal. It will put them in the range for us to farm down. They do end up getting to a Rock Slide at the end, but with our defense double buffed, like it would take probably 4 Rock Slides in that range. So in hindsight, whenever you looked at their the opening matchup when they instantly swapped into Yveltal, it makes sense because they wanted Yveltal to get some utility out of Yveltal, and they wanted to ensure that it doesn't line up with Togekiss. So I understand their point. Just to bring that in and try to get some use out of it. And typically, people are not bringing in a Melmetal into a Melmetal. I feel like it's pretty uncommon. I feel like more often than not, the Yveltal will be in a fairly positive matchup. And they had Lugia in the back, which is even worse to Melmetal. And they wanted to ensure that Melmetal can get aligned with our Togekiss later. So I understand what they were trying to do there. It makes perfect sense. Yeah, they wanted to make sure that Melmetal can get into a Togekiss matchup potentially later, rather than staying in a Melmetal. So it makes sense. Anyway, we have another battle here. Togekiss into Mamoswine. Now this is interesting because this is not a very common lead, and our entire team does pretty poorly to Mamoswine. Mamoswine against Melmetal is not the worst matchup, but they have Bulldoze, which can hurt us a lot. We need to pretty much Superpower twice to do that. And then Giratina obviously is a very poor matchup. So actually the best route, and the way that I've decided to play these, is to just stay in. Stay in and double shield if need be. So we'll shield the Avalanches. We want to take out this Mamoswine. And they decided to bring in Mewtwo, which is cool. We will bring in Giratina-Origin right away. They can move through. I always no shield the first one. Even if they have Shadow Ball, they need 2 moves. Unless they Shadow Ball from like a Shadow Mewtwo. I actually miscounted their moves. I wanted to throw Ominous Wind before they got to their moves so they can decide to shield. I tried to undercharge this so I can farm down and have some energy, which works out. I have a bit of energy, and they bring in a Dialga next. I decided to throw the Shadow Ball. I probably should have thrown it earlier just in case I got hit by lag and didn't get this move off. So they did shield that, which is great. We're going to bring in our Melmetal now. And I'm going to throw a Rock Slide because that should put them into Superpower range and might grab their shield. It did not. They decided to throw a move here. And it's just an Iron Head, no problem. Here's where I made a mistake. I should have thrown the Superpower earlier. I thought that I had more time to get energy. This was definitely a winnable matchup. It still might be winnable if we get the Ancient Power boost. We do not. They're able to KO us there. Now, if I'd thrown the Superpower earlier, it would have been a little more interesting to see what they did. They might have shielded to try to get off the Draco Meteor. I tried to get off that Superpower beforehand, and it just didn't work out. But we might have been able to KO the Mamoswine before they got to that Avalanche, although I don't think Ancient Power would have KO'd from there. So it likely would have played out the same, but that was a little bit of a misplay on my part. So going to the next battle against Stimpy92. We have Togekiss into Melmetal again. So we're going to play it the same way. The last opponent had Yveltal and Lugia as the backline. We'll see what this opponent has. They're bringing our own Melmetal. They stay in for a bit. I know this is going to be a Superpower. They plan on Superpower and dipping, and indeed they do, into a Giratina. So this is basically the worst case scenario whenever you bring Melmetal into the mirror match. They bring a Giratina. Now the good news is you can get to a lot of moves, and the Giratina rarely baits you. So you can pretty comfortably shield this. Now this might seem like a mistake going down 2 shields in the secondary matchup, but remember what we said earlier is we want to make sure that we can preserve our Melmetal. So we actually farmed up just enough for us to catch a Shadow Ball on Togekiss, and we're able to charm that down. So we got some utility out of our Togekiss. We banked a bunch of energy on Melmetal, which is fantastic. We'll see if we can get to a Flamethrower here. This opponent decides to commit to the farm down. So we throw the Flamethrower, we grab a shield, which is ideal, but they're going to come out of this with 100 energy and farm us all the way down. Good news is they're half health. They're expecting me to bring in Melmetal because I'm loaded on energy, but I actually bring in Giratina, and they throw right away. And we caught a Superpower. So that is very convenient. I'm going to actually go here and throw a Shadow Ball into Dialga, because that'll put them into Superpower range. And I throw a Rock Slide here to bait, knowing that they don't want to let their energy go to waste, and it works. And then we get to the Superpower before they throw their move. So that was like the perfect sequence of events right there for us to win the match. And then we get here. They were trying to farm up, but we win the CMP tie to a Superpower. We throw the Superpower. It just barely doesn't KO, and it was a CMP tie. They throw their Superpower. They probably hit no bubbles on that because they realized the writing was on the wall. Kind of a crazy match. You really have to understand your counts if you want to turn those wins around. This is a 4-1 set. I think maybe my videos are out of order. Yeah, we went from 34.69 to 34.92. So that was only a gain of 23 points for a 4-1. High rating problems. Here is another Melmetal lead. We're going to mirror again with our own Melmetal and see how they play it. I actually have to throw a Rock Slide here because I think they're going to shield. I made a bad call. They did not. And I know they're going to throw Superpower. They might throw back-to-back Superpowers. I'm going to try to CMP time with the second one. And they make a perfect swap into Yveltal. And they catch a Superpower, which is kind of insane. 3, 4. They throw 4 Snarls. 5, 6. This could be a Focus Blast. I will shield here. Like I said, we want to preserve this. And they do Focus Blast, which is awesome because this allows us to farm down completely before they get to a Dark Pulse. So they bring in their Melmetal again. Their Metal is extremely close to a move. So we're going to instantly swap into Giratina. And they bring in their own Dialga. Now this is looking pretty bad because they have 2 shields still. But we have 3 Pokemon. We have a lot of energy still on Melmetal. We got the boost there, which is kind of insane. We Ominous Wind baited. We just wanted to get them into Superpower range, which is why we figured we'll take the boost chance. And we throw the Shadow Ball the second time, figuring we'll either grab their shield or it would KO from there. And they're not able to farm us down without throwing moves. So they throw an Iron Head there. We still have a lot of energy banked. But I'm going to bring in Togekiss because Togekiss has very little utility to us. It's not going to do anything against Melmetal. We're going to use it to absorb that damage on the Dialga from the Iron Head. And then we're going to bring in Melmetal immediately. They brought in their Melmetal simultaneously. And yeah, the opponent ended up quitting. We got to our Superpower, we won CMP, and we were going to easily win the end there. So that was 3 Melmetal games out of the last 4 matches, and we won all 3. So it goes to show you that this team is good for even against a bad team like this. Now this, I remember this match as well. Giratina-Origin or Giratina Altered is a really positive lead for Togekiss, but even though you'll see. One big problem with our team is Excadrill switch-ins. Excadrill ahead on energy against Giratina-Origin is tough, especially whenever you don't sneak moves in and they do. They throw a Drill Run. You can tank 2 Drill Runs, but you get Mudshotted down if you decide to do that. I go for Ominous Wind here. They almost always shield because they really, really want to win switch. And even if they don't, you could actually farm down if you hit an Ominous Wind if you double shield. So we're going to throw another Ominous Wind here. They decide to double shield, which is fine. Here, I decided to shield again because I want to get to this Ominous Wind. But I know they win CMP, so I actually opt to catch it on... catch a Drill Run on Togekiss. We lure out their Melmetal. This is a team I've seen fairly commonly, Giratina Double Steel. And it's very tough for our team to play because you pretty much have to win the secondary matchup. We would have gotten to a Flamethrower if they didn't double throw their Rock Slide, which is good because now they're out of energy. Bringing in our own Melmetal here. We're going to wait for them to debuff themselves because that will allow our Superpower to KO. They debuff themselves, which is good. And we throw our Superpower. This should KO from this range. It does. They bring in their Excadrill, and we have to just throw our Superpower here because we don't want them getting to another move. And now we're in kind of a tough problem here. I tried to CMP here. I know it's 5 Shadow Claws to get to a Dragon Claw. I try to CMP here and throw the Shadow Ball so they can't farm me down. And they do CMP, which is fantastic. Now they are 5, I believe, away from... I don't know, they're 6 away from a Shadow Sneak. I have to hope this Rock Slide KOs or puts into range for me to Thundershock down. It's very, very close. How much damage will the Shadow Sneak do? Can we make it? No. It's a shame. I believe that last Thundershock, where we ended up getting KO'd, would have given us a Superpower, and Superpower would have KO'd. Or it might have only been one more Thundershock beyond that as well. So we might have been able to simultaneous KO as well. Very close matchup. In a team that, on paper, we should completely dominate. Togekiss beats Giratina, Altered very handily. And then Giratina Origin should be able to handle double steel backlines. But unfortunately, Energy leads can change that, especially with baiting and sneaky moves through. So we pretty much could not win that match based on. We would have lost the secondary match had we stayed in there. I believe I have one last match here to show. Groudon lead. As I was saying about Groudon before, if they have Mudshot, they could go straight Fire Punch and beat you if you do not throw any charge moves, unless you shield. Basically, what I like to do at that point, I believe you could tank 3 Fire Punches, and then before they get to their 4th Fire Punch, I opt to throw a Flamethrower. If they grab a shield, I will match shield, so I win lead. If not, they usually let it go, and then you win lead anyway. If they have Dragon Tail, then it's even better because you can just no shield the entire way. They don't get to enough Fire Punches for you to have to worry about shielding. You're able to completely farm them down and come out with a charge move. But anyway, let's see how our opponent plays this one. We have Groudon. They swap out right away to Dialga. Dialga switch-ins are fun. I like to play them by throwing 6 Charms and then switching to Melmetal. Some of them throw Iron Head right away, and they'll catch it on. You'll catch it on your Melmetal, which is ideal. And it also gives the opponent the opportunity. It basically takes away their opportunity to win switch. Because one thing I've noticed is, depending on how baiting goes, if they double shield your superpowers and then they bait you with Iron Head, it's possible to actually lose switch in the 2 shield against a Dialga. So I stay in with Togekiss just enough to do enough damage to put them into single superpower range, even if they opt to shield the first one. So that allows you to ensure that you're going to maintain switch and get that matchup with Togekiss against their lead Pokemon that you were winning against. So we're going to farm a bit more. They threw Thunder. You don't have to worry about shielding the first move from Dialga. We farmed to 2 superpowers. We're going to throw this. They're probably going to let it go. Instead, they opt to shield it. We're going to throw our second superpower. It will still KO from this range. They shield again. At this point, obviously alignment's very important for our team. So we want to... Ooh. They brought in Kyogre, their 3rd Pokemon. So they revealed their 3rd Pokemon to us. And then we're going to bring in our Giratina right away. We're going to let this go. They're not out of Blizzard. They're going straight Surf. This is fine. We're going to farm a bunch of energy. It's 10 waterfalls to get to a Blizzard. So they threw before them. We knew it wasn't potential Blizzard. We're going to throw Shadow Ball at this point. We still have our shield. We're going to throw Shadow Ball into the Groudon. We have a shield for our Togekiss, so even if their Dialga gets to another move, we have a shield ready. We're just going to bring in Togekiss right away so we don't get too far ahead on energy farming us down. Fire Punches. You'll see there. Doesn't do too much. Dialga, we're going to throw this Ancient Power. Probably a mistake. We probably could have Charmed down and just thrown a Flamethrower against Groudon, but they opted to let it go. So that was the last of the battles I had showcased. A couple other matchups that we didn't see in these battles that are probably good to talk about. Excadrill leads. The way I play those, I actually stay in with Togekiss and I sack it. I use no shields. I just do a bunch of charm damage. Excadrill is extremely glassy. And what I found with Excadrill leads is that typically they have a backline that Melmetal does well against, that Giratina might struggle with, which makes sense based on the fact that Excadrill is weak to Giratina and beats Melmetal. So the way that I typically play it, they usually throw 2 Rock Slides before you get to Flamethrower, which makes sense. They don't want to have to burn a shield. And then I bring in Giratina-Origin after Togekiss goes down and try to farm them all the way down. You can, if they stay in, you can tank 2 drill runs, potentially. Usually their backline's good against Giratina, but Giratina with energy can still hurt stuff, even like Yveltal. It still does like 30-40% from a shot. But what I found a lot of people do is you bring in Giratina into their Excadrill, and they assume that Excadrill is good against what we have in the back, which is a good assumption. So they decide to preserve their Excadrill and switch lock something that they have in the back, like a Lugia. In which case, I like to farm to a Shadow Ball and then bring in Melmetal, which has a dominating matchup against Lugia. You want to make sure you come out of that with a bunch of energy, so you can try to throw a Superpower into Excadrill, which after the charms from the initial Togekiss matchup will put them in Superpower range. If they do opt to shield that, then you bring in your own Giratina with a combo play and throw a Shadow Ball there, which also would KO. And then if they double shield their Excadrill to preserve it, then you're up 2 shields with 2 Pokemon left, and they usually have a Yveltal in the back or something that Giratina or that Melmetal can handle. So that's typically how I play that. Kyogre leads are actually probably the worst. Togekiss wins, but you get so much damage chunked from waterfalls. Just talk about that matchup a little bit. You pretty much have to double shield to win it. If you sneak a charm through on their first throw of a Surf, then you can throw a Flamethrower if you're confident that you will fast move deny. If you throw a Flamethrower and they don't get a waterfall through, You end up winning before you win on the charm that would bring them to their second waterfall, so you don't have to double shield. It's an extremely niche scenario. I figure I'll throw it out there in case someone wants to give it a try. But typically, Kyogre leads are also really difficult. I typically just stay with Togekiss, double shield, farm down, and then throw a flamethrower into whatever they bring in next. You see a lot of double steel lines in the back. So if you get that alignment with Melmetal into a Dialga and then get Giratina on their Melmetal, it ends up working out pretty well. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this team. I hope you enjoyed the battles. Like I said, I think this is a very powerful team. And yeah, give it a try. If you're struggling to gain some points, then definitely give this a shot. And just keep in mind what your opponent's team compositions might be. A lot of very common teams out there right now. Quite a few Dragon Tail Groudons, but there's still quite a few Mudshot Groudons as well. A lot of Dialga Groudon Kyogre lines. A lot of either Giratina Double Charm or Giratina Double Steel floating around. So just keep that in mind whenever you're playing this, of what their potential third Pokemon might be, so you can play accordingly and try to preserve what your Pokemon is that you bring to the secondary matchup. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll try to bring some new content once I come up with a new team. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, definitely leave a like and subscribe. Feels so typical to say that. I'm such a YouTuber. You can also follow me on Twitch down below. Jason2890 is the link. I stream on Twitch. I try to stream 4 or 5 days a week. Pokemon Go occasionally, although lately I've been streaming a lot of Pokemon Unite. And I also speedrun video games as well. I speedrun quite a few video games. Cuphead's my biggest one. So if you're into that, some variety content, and want to see some Pokemon Go, Pokemon Unite content as well, definitely give me a follow there. And also, I don't have a link, or I don't have a handle out below, but you follow me on Twitter, Jason2090 as well. But anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Take care and enjoy the rest of your night.